gentlemen, to the Radio Misfits. I am Ifa Saponless. And he is, I don't know, Basil Porphin. You're going to have to explain that one to me, Basil.
Basil Porphyrogenitus. He's more commonly known as Basil II.
Okay.
Probably, one of the best known, or at least most accomplished emperors of the Eastern Roman Empire. We call it the Byzantine Empire, but it sucks because it's the Roman Empire. They call themselves Rome. It was just after they had lost Rome. Anyway, I just been on a Byzantine.
You would have sat in the high septum at Constantinople.
Yeah.
Or was it still Byzantium?
Oh no, it's Constantinople for a long time before this dude came along.
What is that now? It's Istanbul now, right?
Yep. Istanbul.
Yeah, where's Ankara? Where's Ankara? Because Ankara seems to be like a cool place. That's like where you go if you really want to live like sort of a more Western life. You go to Ankara. That seems like they're New York.
Yeah. It's farther inland in Anatolia. I think like just looking at it, it looks like maybe 2 hours. And that's not far.
Looking at it? What do you mean looking at it? You're spending time looking at the map of Turkey?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I've spent a lot of time just going around Google Earth 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah, I guess I have to. Yeah, you're weird. Okay, you know what else is weird? This is, I've been talking a lot, James, on the Noon Show, a show you can't be bothered to listen to. On the Noon Show every day.
Job. I just like to point out it's because I have a job.
I understand that. That's everybody's excuse. That's fine.
I know, right?
Right. Suckers. By the way, Ranger game, just before we get distracted, they are showing a shot of Dallas right now as they rejoin from commercials. That is gorgeous. What were we talking about there? I forgot what we were talking. I was just distracted. We weren't
talking about the Roman Empire or Ankara.
All right, doesn't matter. Oh, so I was talking about on the show. I've been mentioning how weird coincidences have been befalling me the last few days, dating back to over the weekend. I first noticed that my God, these are just weird deja vu coincidences. All manner of very strange happenings where I go, that's weird. Have been happening. This is another one. Now, this is a minor one, but this is another weird one. James and I don't talk before the show. We don't compare notes, and yet out of the blue for the past couple of years we've just for no reason been making up phony silly names. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to who I choose on any given day or who he chooses, yet today out of nowhere we both chose historical figures from a barbaric time. That's why I was asking questions about this, because Ivar the Boneless, of course, 10 AD. When are we looking for Basil? Did we even hit the same area? Like were Ivar and Basil alive at the same time? Because that'd be freaking weird.
Hang on. When do you think Ivar the Boneless was alive?
Like 10,000, right? Isn't that during
okay. I thought you meant like AD 10. Yeah,
no,
this
9, 10, I think something like that. Wasn't that in his area, the Irish Sea and all that?
Look, man, not to like out nerd anybody here, but when I log in, I can see what your name is.
Oh no. Oh, so here I was hoping for some magic.
No, but I was like, well, who is alive about the same time as Ivar the Boneless? And I couldn't think of really anything else because I've been listening to the History of Byzantium, this podcast. It has like 200 episodes. And so I've been listening to it for like a year. So,
never mind. You just crapped on my thing. I thought I had another example of some really cool stuff. But there you go. Okay, so that answers that. James, Ranger game. I know you're not a big baseball nerd, but I'm telling you, have to believe in magic. The magic's happening. We're not going to talk baseball, but I do want to talk to you about this. So I just tweeted something. It's getting quite the response, quite the popular response there on the Twitter box. I tweeted, I remember, 25, 30 years ago when the retractable roof, was the cool ass modern innovation of baseball stadiums and entertainment complexes. The retractable roof. There's no more rainouts. Oh, it was a magical thing. I was of the understanding when this was introduced and we were all down with the concept that the premise was it was always going to be open, but should it rain, they would close the roof. I thought that was going to be standard operating procedure.
No, standard operating procedure is closed.
Closed. That's what we get. We get closed all the time. You're playing in a shoebox. What criteria? When is it open? It is not open tonight. Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas is not open tonight. and it is probably one of the most gorgeous nights in Texas history.
Oh.
It's a beautiful night outside.
It is 66 degrees here in Bug Tussle, so it can only be like 1 or 2 off in Dallas proper or in Arlington.
It's
But
71 degrees. It is 71 degrees right now in Highland Park, Texas. It's gorgeous.
You know, I've had a similar observation because I noticed the retractable roofs. For other sports it's the same, but when it's really cold outside, you got to close the roof because it's too cold. And if it's like 100 degrees outside, they're going to close the roof so you can turn on the air conditioner and we don't have to all bake and be miserable. And so there's really just this narrow window of like it's really 45 to 85 degrees, which seems pretty amenable, except you also got to throw in if there's like a 30% chance of rain or more, they're going to close the roof. Like it's not a 50-50 deal because you don't want to risk it. You don't want to delay
Wait a second.
it.
So hold on. This is what I freaking hate about this. These roofs. Does it take a team of Egyptian slaves to close it, or is it a goddamn button, James? If it rains, hey, let's close the roof during this next commercial break. How big of a stupid process is it? And I argue if it is a very involved process, we aren't ready for retractable roofs yet.
Well, it's also like, you could say, hey, Doug, do the thing. And he'll go,
yes!
And that's it. That's all it is.
But if there's a 30% chance of rain, we're checking with the weather services to see if we're going to close it. Keep it open. If it starts to drizzle, convertible logic. Treat it like it's a convertible, dude. Have you never owned a convertible? I mean, I never have. But anyone who's owned a convertible knows they're treating them like T-tops. T-tops were very involved. That was hard. You never took the T-tops off. That was all. But convertibles, easy. Go ahead, James.
When I flipped on X earlier, I saw the Astros were up 5-2.
Oh, they're up 7-2 now. They just ran. Oh God, that was ugly. Just as I was ranting, I'm watching it. I'm getting angrier. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, darn. I hate it when that happens. I'm happy with whatever the result is. Both of the Texas teams got in there. And sure, the Astros have had a couple, so it'd be nice if the Rangers got one. But I do find some sort of sick down there. Just persistent failure.
Who?
The Rangers.
When was the last time? Oh, so you're talking historic, because they haven't been failing. They are dominating. They are dominating the Astros until today. They're up 2-0 in this 4-game series. They dominate them at home. Come on.
I don't mean in the postseason. I mean since 1967. Yes.
You're a broken man, and cynicism is your reclining chair. And right now, when it comes to the Rangers, instead of embracing, this is what I'm preaching to my people here, James. Embrace it. Go with it. That's the magic of sports. Well, you're supposed to have your heart broken.
Well, I also have some other,
That's why the championships feel so good.
It's not based on my cynicism. I also don't like baseball that much. It's really fun to play, but I don't think it's very fun to watch. I also am a big fan of soccer, so I would like to see baseball go by the side and soccer become the official sport of summer for America, for the soccer season and baseball season overlap. So I would
that's as pie in the sky. That's as pie in the sky as your libertarian ideology.
I know
it's never gonna happen, but it's a nice dream.
Because that's another place in my life where when I look at polls, I'm like, hey, who thinks the same way I do? And it's 2%. Like, who likes soccer? Oh, the 2% of it's really like, oh, damn it. Well, that sucks.
James, I can relate to your Ranger thing, and I understand it now. And thank you for explaining it, because you not being a baseball fan, you have no real emotional investment in this local Dallas team. Right. And that's totally understandable. And I get it, because James, I have the same thing with your sport. I relish in the U.S. men's Olympic or whatever soccer team's failures. I think they're hysterical.
You mean the World Cup team? Yeah.
Right. And it's the same thing, because, I have no emotional investment there, and you don't have any emotional investment in baseball. So I get it. Have fun. Go for it.
All right. You got it. You want to do the news?
What? You say that like we have a news segment that we do. You want to do the news? What?
Hit the news sounder.
Do we have a news segment?
Yeah, we have a news segment. Hit the news sounder.
I don't have a news sounder. Right.
Hit
news
it. Ready
sounder.
To go. Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Where's search? All right. Hold on. Hold on.
Come on, man. This is a big day for news. You have no idea.
Introducing Astapro Allergy. Astapro is still on the illness.
To wait out the commercial.
Go.
Just like real.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that ain't loud.
Oh, that's perfect though. All right.
Here's your news.
Just let's not get into the weeds on this.
No, Fred Salucci by reputation.
Oh yeah, everybody did.
It was
Were you
only 8
excited to
seconds.
work with him?
And then
Well, I
YouTube
think
threw
we
it to
were
a
all
commercial.
ready to do.
Sorry.
Weird. Okay.
James, you got to tell me you're going to want a news sounder.
Nah, it's funny to watch me scramble. Okay, so Gaza Hospital, who did it? Ready, go.
Gaza Hospital, who did? Oh, I love this. Yeah, like my fat ass here in like I have any expertise being able to tell who did it. Yeah, I'm going to give you a hot take. Who do I think did it? I think it's obvious that it's Hamas. I think that here's what and I'll cede the floor to you because you're ramped up for this. Here's what's going on. There are questions that need to be asked. Do I believe the Israeli story that it's a faulty Hamas rocket? Well, I don't know if I believe it, but do I think it's possible that Hamas has faulty rockets? Yeah, probably. I imagine they got some shit rockets that are always doing all kinds of stuff. So do I believe Israel's story? Not necessarily, because that would be the story you would want to tell during a time of propaganda. Now, do I think Israel might have accidentally blew up the hospital? Yeah, I think they might have accidentally blew up the hospital. Do I think they deliberately did it? No, not really. Was it an accident? Possibly. Now, if they did accidentally blow up the hospital, do I think Israel would admit it, or would they concoct a story blaming it on Hamas? Yeah, I think that's what they would do. So, James, I don't know what to think other than it's probably Hamas and a shitty rocket. There you go.
Isn't this so hard? This is so not fair. Because I just remember when the Ukraine stuff popped off last spring, there was like the Ghost of Kiev myth, and then there was like the 8 soldiers that were holding out on Snake Island or whatever that was, and that turned out to not be true, and like everything that came out of there was not true, and so I just kind of tuned it out. And this stuff, I'm like, how do we know this just isn't the same old bullcrap that's going to be shown to be a myth in just like a week or two? Like I'm it's hard to get attached to this stuff because it's like I'm not even sure a hospital blew up. They could both be lying.
I'm pretty sure a hospital blew up, but we have no longer any established faith in any institution globally, so we don't know who to believe. We don't know anything. We're adrift.
No, you don't have to be that absolutist. Actually, our loyalties have shifted. You and me, Pugs, not collectively, but on an individual basis. Some of the stuff that we find most compelling, most believable, most credible is the stuff that you see on social media, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or people posting on their TikTok or YouTube or whatever it is.
I would agree that the stuff I find most compelling, I don't know about most credible. Certainly not Twitter. Twitter's terrible lately. TikTok's a real comer, though. I've been really enjoying TikTok's coverage of this.
Yeah, and there was, there's a few different social media you can use to sort of be on the ground and look around and see what's going on in these places. And I've always found that really cool for war zones and natural disasters. Like if you go to a place where there's like a flood and like, because Snapchat has the map where you can just go to hotspots on the map and see what people are snapping about publicly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like, Jim Cantori can go stand out in the hurricane for the Weather Channel, but this is different. This is people going, oh shit, there goes my garage.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about the advantage of social media that we have now with news gathering. We get an abundance of raw news imagery without the established media's narrative of what we're seeing. Right, we're seeing stuff now unfiltered without Anderson Cooper going, I'm going to show you something terrible now, projecting that we should feel terrible about what we're going to see. There is an abundance of raw information out there. We just got to be smart enough to be able to, sift through it.
It's brutal though. There's more information than you could possibly consume being put out every second. But if you go dive into that stuff, I think that's a great substitute for the credibility that, media has just thrown away by getting all this other stuff wrong. And not that it's their fault, in war, the first thing that goes is the truth. But that also makes me just hyper skeptical about what's being reported now. And I don't know the answer to this at all. I was just asking you an impossible question to see how well you'd handle it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't because again, we don't know who to believe. What do I think is probably the case? I think it's probably, and again, I've seen videos, but I don't know what I'm looking at, James. Somebody could have mocked that up and said, right? I don't know.
Right.
But if I'm going to believe that the video that I'm seeing, then yeah, I believe the story about the rocket detonating in the air and then changing direction and sort of whirling into the hospital. That seems likely. I imagine.
I know, but it's also like
rockets.
this footage looks like it could be from a Michael Bay movie I haven't seen yet.
No, it's real. I mean, it's enough on both sides. It's real. They're definitely.
Doesn't it not look real? When is the last time you were walking down the street and you saw a missile hit an apartment building? Like this is the word surreal. I'm using literally here. This is real. It's surreal looking at this stuff on TV.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's far worse than any of the stuff that we've seen from Ukraine. I mean, we've seen destruction of buildings and apartment buildings, and we watched the shelling, a Russian tank shelling apartment buildings. We saw that. Nothing like this. This is some real condensed mayhem that looks to be going on here. What do you got there?
I don't like watching this stuff. All right, next one. Do we
Yeah,
care
I don't
about this? Do we care about this? Joran van der Sloot confesses to Natalie Holloway murder.
I'll tell you the thing I care most about Joran van der Sloot is that he seems to be aging terribly. And I love this because he was such a cocky, young, handsome prick. The fact that he is now looking all of, 35 or whatever the hell he is. And not only that, but a bad 35. Like he's looking like he's been through hell. So, yeah, you're talking about Beth Holloway, right? The mother of Natalie Holloway, who sued Joran van der Sloot for extortion, I believe, right? What's the story there, James? You got it.
There you go. Yeah, van der Sloot's U.S. extortion case. You're up on this.
He
van der Sloot stole her money and credit cards from Natalie Holloway and fled.
So do you know the backstory on van der Sloot? I mean, you like where he's been, or like so we know like 20 years ago he did the thing with Holloway, and then there was nothing, and then now he's popping back up again. You know what he's been doing?
He did it again, didn't he?
Yeah, this guy was incorrigible. So here's what he did, and this is really scary.
I remember you telling me this.
Yeah. So he left Bermuda, or was that where I was? I don't know. It was one of those places. He left Bermuda. Yeah, Aruba, wherever. Aruba, yeah. Isn't the same thing? Where's Aruba? Isn't it over there in the same area? I have no idea.
I remember it was Aruba, but I don't know where Aruba is at on the map.
It seems like fat people Jamaica. Like it just seems like where less attractive people go. Bermuda and Aruba.
Well, let me look it up real quick.
Anyway, so yeah, his backstory.
That can't be right. This is where Aruba is. Hang on.
Is Aruba like by Mexico? Is it down there?
There's an Aruba.com. No, it's right above Venezuela.
Yeah, that part of the world. Unlike Bermuda, which is like in Bermuda, like off North Carolina.
Yeah, Bermuda's way out in the Atlantic. That's like not tropical and exotic at all.
Cold. They get 4 seasons. I don't want to live on an island that gets 4 seasons.
Nope.
No. All right, so he leaves Aruba after the whole Holloway thing. He gets to walk on that or whatever, and he runs to like South Thailand or wherever, where he hooks up with sex slave traders, and he goes into the sex slave trading business.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's horrifying. Because what does that tell you? It tells you that at the time that this poor girl disappeared, he had connections with the sex slave, sex slave trade. So what is that about? She's disappeared.
Well, see, you've told me this story before, but it hits different now that we know he's a murderer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we know he's a murderer. So he runs.
So
he runs
probably
away.
Trying to pick her up and bring her into this sex trading thing.
That's what I think. Theory? That is my theory. That's been my working theory for about 15 years. Yeah. Kelly and I covered the story a lot when it was going on. So anyway, so van der Sloot, he runs down there to like Vietnam or one of those funky ass places where they seem to get away with that shit. He goes down there, and he runs afoul of the law. Probably not because he's doing the sex trade thing, but probably because he didn't pay the right guy off. So then he has to run from there, and he ends up running to South America because he's Joran van der Sloot in the West. That name on a credit card Someone might go, I've heard of you. You know what I mean? So he's staying to like these under the radar countries.
So he went
ends
to
up going
Peru, right? 'Cause he's
Peru
in
or
Peru.
Bolivia, or is that where he is? He's in Peru. Then that's where he went. Yeah, like Peru.
Well,
So
no,
he goes-
he was. Yeah, he was in Peru in 2010.
No, he's in a Peruvian prison. Yeah, he's been in prison for like a decade. Here's what happened.
Okay.
So he runs to Peru after he pisses off the sex people in Vietnam and the authorities. He runs to Peru again, laying low. He starts hanging out at this casino, and he sees and spots this girl who's winning big, and she's got big money. He's like, man, she's got a lot of money. She had like thousands of dollars, and he decides, you know what? I'm gonna hook up with her and kill her and take her money. It's because he was on the run. He was, he needed to get some money. So she takes him back. He's a handsome guy. He's got game. Unlike that dude we watched last night who was hitting on the girl. He's got game, and he takes her back to her room. And by the way, she was hot. She wasn't like just some chick that would just go home with anybody. She was hot. So he takes her back to his room or her room or whatever. He murders her, takes her money, takes her credit cards, cashes out her credit cards, and then goes on the run. Here's the problem. He murdered the daughter of one of the most powerful and wealthiest men in Peru. And the whole freaking intelligence apparatus of Peru. They closed the net on him really quick. He got caught. He killed the wrong girl, and he got caught, and now he's been in Peruvian prison forever. Now, while he was in Peruvian prison, at some point he reached out to Natalie Holloway's mother, Beth, and he told her that he was willing to tell her all the details of what went on and how she's missing if she would give him X amount of money. And she sent him, I guess, a whole bunch of money and credit cards and stuff like that. And then, of course, he didn't tell her anything. And lo and behold, we laugh at the American justice system, but she's suing him and he's got to respond and whatever. There you go. But he is in prison.
That's interesting. Wow. I didn't know about this whole extortion layer up. I remember the Peruvian situation. You had told me that story. Man, what a terrible person this guy is.
Oh, he's the worst. He's the worst. And remember, his dad was all connected down there in Aruba. His dad was like the solicitor general for the island. And so they thought the police were covering it.
2 out of 100 of us are capable of that. They are empaths. They're either sociopaths or psychopaths where they could just cold murder somebody. I mean, you're not capable of it, Pugs. I'm not capable of it. Nobody in the chat room is capable of it. I mean, I assume not.
No, don't do yet. It's dangerous. Don't go assuming they're all fine people, I'm sure. But
there would have to be 50 people watching right now for there to be the likelihood that one of us is an empath.
No, then we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, so far. But anyway, 2 out of 100 people are capable of this.
Yeah, well, good. Humanity. Wickedly flawed. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that. I mean, what do I chew on here?
All right, let me tell you, here's what you chew on. Here's what you chew on. We're a nation of 330 million people. Let me round it down to just 300 million. That means there's 6 million people who are capable of committing murder.
I used to have that dark thought. I used to have that dark thought when I worked in a big, tall building and we'd get in packed elevators every day. I used to just sit in this elevator surrounded by total strangers. And I wonder how many of these people have just murdered people for fun. Like, has anybody, have I ever been in an elevator with somebody?
Yeah.
Of course I have. Yeah. Has to. Yeah. 7-4 Texas, 7-4 Houston now.
Oh, wow. Well, progress. But look, not that all of them act on it. Some of them do have the compulsion to act on it, but it's a really small amount. That's why we probably have, what's the number of serial killers we have going at any time? Like 60 to 100 or something.
Oh, you don't want to fall into that Wikipedia hole. I did the list of active serial killers.
Yeah.
Holy cow, man. First of all, every FBI jurisdiction in America, every FBI field office has at least 10 open serial killer investigations. Think about that. There's at least 10. Well, I don't know, all the major cities, and then there's a few rural ones. So, 50, So, I mean, and that doesn't mean that there are active serial killers out there. It means that they are still working cases from maybe the 80s or whatever, where they think this might be tied to something that just happened. I mean, yeah, at any given, we are lousy with serial killers in this country, and it's probably a good thing we don't know it.
Well, there's also the scary stats. I don't know if you've ever looked it up. It sometimes like the court system bottlenecks in certain major metropolitan areas, and they get a shockingly low conviction rate. So, like the conviction rate on murder in most of America is something pretty reasonable. Like 80% of murders or 70% of murders end up getting solved and getting a verdict of some sort on it. But some years in like Baltimore or Chicago or I think Houston was bad one year, they will solve like 20% of murder cases. Like 80% of murder cases will go unsolved.
Oh yeah. It's because they have not enough investigators, not enough money in the police budget, and they just have a larger population creating mayhem. Urban environments where people live on top of each other breed more crime. So yeah, big cities are going to have terrible closure rates. They're just they don't.
That is wild to think about, though. It's the place where you're most likely to have that happen to you. It's the place where you're least likely to get any justice for it. Not that you'll be dead.
Yeah.
But
the system, the criminal system in major American cities is an embarrassment. It's barbaric.
Well, what are you going to do? Have like 1,000 judges making sure this all streamlines quickly?
No,
maybe they should.
No, it's not about judges, but yeah, we could build more courts. Absolutely. We could adjudicate cases a lot quicker, but we won't, because the real problem are lawyers. The lawyers are the problem. The lawyers are the ones that make our judicial system so goddamn syrupy and slow and plodding. Nah, it's lawyers. It's and particularly in criminal courts, defense attorneys.
Right, but think of how much time, effort, docket space, court space, lawyer space, manpower, investigatory, whatever, evidence, locker room space. If we just legalized all drugs, if we did the libertarian thing and everything, fentanyl, the birth controls over the counter, just everything, Plan B or whatever, everything.
If you took away drug crimes and prisoners being held in cells due to drug crimes, yeah, we would empty out at least 60, 70% of our prison space.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm all for it.
Think about like the 300,000 officers of the law that are currently dealing with drug cases right now. What if they're all now turning their attention tomorrow to these actual violent crimes, these murders, the 80% of murders that go unsolved?
Yeah.
Would that be fantastic?
Preaching to the choir here, my friend. Absolutely.
You're a pro-fentanyl guy now. You're
no, not a pro-fentanyl guy. I am not a person who believes we throw people in prison for these kinds of crimes. I don't see these as violent crimes. So yeah, no, as long as we have to establish some sort of alternative care for people, because we have to take care of each other because we're a civilized society. But yeah, they shouldn't be in prison. A dude who's like a junkie shouldn't be in prison being made to dress like a woman and have sex.
Yeah, I think we got to bring back One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And if you're a junkie that goes so far down the rabbit hole, that's where you end up.
Why on earth would you bring back One Flew Over the Cuckoo? Why would you do that? Is that the only option that you can conceive of? Is to go back to a penitentiary style asylum system?
Yeah, the state mental hospitals. Yeah.
Oh, we'll still certainly need those, and we still have those. Those are medical prisons. They exist, and that's where violent criminals go who are deemed to be mentally unsafe. But for people who are just depressive or maybe schizophrenic and all that stuff, yes, I think that there should be a form of care for them instead of putting them just in prison because they're junkies. Yeah.
Right. There is grades to this, and it doesn't have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, although I'm a big fan of that over sending them to actual prison. And some sort of halfway house system like what they do with Wendy Williams.
Well, I don't think that either you or me are capable of envisioning what this looks like, but there's probably people who are social workers and who are skilled and who work in this field. There's got to be something. The idea that there's not is a failure of the human spirit.
All right, so I wave my magic wand. Me and you get our legislative dreams and desires fulfilled, and all drugs are legal tomorrow. They're over the counter. There's not even a prescription system. Forget all that. We're America.
Okay, don't include me in this. I don't think they should all be legal. I think they should be non-criminal. Yes, I think it's non-criminal, but not legal. There's a difference there. You know, I can speed, and I'm not going to go to prison for 10 years. That's what drug crime should be.
Oh, so we're not on the same page with drug crime.
No, but I do think we empty out the prisons of all the people who are in there for fentanyl, as you so cherry picked.
Yeah, well, I throw out fentanyl because that's the biggest and baddest and scariest drug of the day. And so, yes, I think fentanyl should be legal, and I think it should be over the counter. But what about children? Well, then don't sell it to children, right? You're only allowed to sell it to adults. So it really is that easy. Same thing we do with like alcohol and vapes or whatever.
Is that honestly what you think? Like society would be we won't sell it to kids. Okay, no problem. I mean, you just think that'll be fine. You just think there's not going to be a body count associated with that level of reductive thinking.
They don't have access to it now. We don't have the highest overdoses of fentanyl we've ever had in the history of drugs last year.
They do have it. They have terrible illegal access to it now, but you're advocating making it over the counter and just putting some dude there who goes, "Can I check your ID?" I mean, come on, be a bit more. Be a bit more than just that. That's too easy. You're smarter than that.
Well, we allow that.
Simplistic. You don't think just the honor system is simplistic? Do you think we should do that with beer too? It should just be the honor system.
It is. That's exactly what we do with beer. We say we're only selling to people who are 21 and over. And yes, a 21-year-old can turn around and sell it to a kid. I mean, we can make that a crime too for fentanyl, just like we do for providing alcohol to a minor. Like provide fentanyl to a minor.
In that situation, it should be a crime. I don't know. I don't see any need. I don't see fentanyl as a social drug that has ingrained itself into our culture.
So what are you worried about? No one's going to be going out on
the counter. Why would you make it over the counter? It's unnecessary to make it over the counter. Just make it non-criminal.
Is it legal or not?
It's legal, but there's a lot of things that are legal that we can't just get without.
Why not?
We can't even.
Why not?
Because they're dangerous. Because there are things that can't be out in the wind. James, come on, man. You really just think that people ought to just be left up to their own devices just blowing the wind. Okay, all right.
Yes,
that's frighteningly dangerous.
Look, the overwhelming majority of drugs that are under the prescription system are things that would never be abused anyway, like your Prilosec, that's like the antacid medication or whatever. Like there's any junkies under the bridge right now.
No, dude, that's James. When I was a child, I had ulcers. Not a child, a teenager. I had ulcers. We didn't understand what it was. Now we understand through therapy. It was depression and therapy. But why does this 15-year-old have ulcers? I had to have a prescription for Pepsid in 1986. I used to have to get my prescription refilled. Now you can buy it at 7-Eleven.
Right. And I don't like that. I don't like the government putting obstacles to children getting things that will make their lives better.
Okay, but fentanyl isn't going to make a child's life better, James. There's a reason Pepsid.
There's some people that need fentanyl, and there's purpose for fentanyl.
And a doctor should probably be the one, or no, just, you know what? I feel like I need a little fentanyl. I just push back on this. I think, look.
Well, you can push back on this, but whether it's legal or illegal, there are people out there who are saying, "Oh, I just need some fentanyl." And so you are making them go to a drug dealer, and you are making the power and the profits and the money flow to cartels and people who are doing illegal things. I want to make it go to, I don't know, Pfizer or Bayer or
nobody's buying fentanyl. Nobody's going and saying, "I need to buy fentanyl because I'm a fentanyl addict." They're cutting cocaine and methamphetamine with fentanyl. That's the problem. Right. So you want to make fentanyl legal? Why? Okay. Nobody needs.
So if cocaine is legal, and cocaine is now made by the same people who make, let's just say, Fun Dip, or Pixie Sticks, right? You just get a little straw of cocaine. It would come in its own straw.
Now, cocaine is different than what you're talking. The raw, deadly drug of fentanyl. Cocaine's a problem. People are going to get addicted to it. But I could have a conversation with you about whether or not that should be legal.
Right. So the Pixie Stick company starts making cocaine, right? They're not going to lace it with fentanyl because if people die and they trace it back to the Pixie Stick company, somebody's going to jail. Well,
Right.
the cartel doesn't have to worry about that because what they're doing is already illegal. So why not add this other illegal thing onto it? They're already in the criminal realm. So you have removed the incentive for them to not kill their customers. In the free market, businesses
Not the cartel that's adding the fentanyl, James. How up to speed are you? It's the street dealers who are cutting it with the fentanyl.
Right.
It ain't the cartels. The cartels are executing people
the
who are
street
dealing
dealers. Right. So the street dealers under the thumb of the cartel are the ones who did it. Fine. You
No,
got me.
well,
But
they
the
get it
point
from the
is,
cartel. They're wildly
point-
separate entities.
Right.
A street dealer might claim to be part of the cartel, but they don't claim him. He's just some bum.
The point stands that it is being cut with fentanyl because it's already in the black market arena to begin with. There are no legal drugs that are allowed, whether it's over the counter or even through the prescription system, that are killing people because they are being cut with fentanyl. That is a feature that is exclusive to the black market. You take all these drugs off the black market, the cocaine and the meth or whatever that's killing people because it's laced with fentanyl, and those people would still be alive. And you would still rather your kid be have a cocaine habit in his early 20s than be dead.
Okay. So fentanyl, which is a problem because it's killing a lot of people because they're accidentally ingesting it when they think they're doing blow at a party. It's killing people. It's not available at all. You can't get it, but still we have this problem because of the way it's killing. Your solution is to make it over the counter. Is to make it available, make it readily available, something that isn't now. It never has been readily available.
So you think it's dangerous that we have something readily available that if you ingest it, it can kill you? Because I can still buy antifreeze.
Well, no, but antifreeze doesn't have a reputation for being something that'll get you fucked up. It's a totally different thing. That's a terrible argument. You're being disingenuous.
Look, I am not stupid enough to go take fentanyl because someone will get you fucked up. No, it'll kill you. There was like 100,000 people or whatever it was die from fentanyl last year. No, that doesn't sound like fun. It's not going to sell very well, Pugs. I don't know who's going to want to sell it. I don't know if anyone would even bother putting it on the shelf in anything other than it does have some pain relief uses for people who are in chronic pain or they have like some spinal injuries where they are constantly in like level 9 pain. There are some people who need fentanyl and they like it and it helps them and it makes them at least functional. So there is a purpose for it. And for those people that need it, I want them to have it in a safe, readily cheap form.
Look, I'll respect the spirit of your argument because I respect you and I think you're a smart guy, but no, can't go there with you. This seems absurd to me. I understand you as a libertarian, you believe everything should be available, which should be left up to our own selves. That's fine. But I think that your solution to this particular issue is reckless and unnecessary. Do
you think more or fewer people will accidentally ingest fentanyl under my system or yours?
Yours, far more, 100 times more. Yeah. It'll be more readily available. If this is something that is sold in stores, yes, as opposed to a dealer who has to get a bag through a pharmacist that he knows that orders it through a back channel. Yes, absolutely. Yes. More people will start cutting coke with it.
More people will start cutting coke with it. I'm not buying coke from them. Coke's over the counter too. I'm not buying from them. I'm going to go get the safe stuff from the Pixie Stick company.
Okay. But just as we see with,
no, your drugs are safer. You lost that argument. Your drugs would definitely be safer if they were in the legal realm. They would not be cut with fentanyl anymore. That risk would go away.
Of course they would, because as I'm saying, we have, you have weed stores where places are legal. Weed dealers still exist. They still exist because people aren't comfortable going to these places, and there's going to be people. There's still going to be coke dealers in the clubs. And how are they going to sell 20 bags when they really only have enough to sell 15? They're going to start cutting it with shit, and they're going to go old school. And this is where the problem is. You think that people are only going to get cocaine at the cocaine store at 2 o'clock in the morning? No, there's obviously going to be a secondary market because it's a pleasure drug.
No, there's not like a secondary market for beer. Sorry, let me go. That's only for kids that have to go buy at the bootlegger. You don't go buy beer from your friend who cut
A
it with
secondary
something
market for beer is the beer you stock your refrigerator with, because that's a part of our culture, and we've been doing it regularly and habitually for 100 years.
But if I can stop off at any CVS 24 hours a day and get my own pixie stick, I'm not going to be getting some stepped on stuff from a random dude in the club.
Okay, all right, sure. Because you're partying, you're like, hold on, I'm gonna go run across the street to the CVS and get a picture. No, you're gonna buy from the guy in the bathroom because it's an impulse buy. I'm sorry, you are a very thoughtful person with your arguments, but this seems
you're thoughtless, because you know what's going to happen
No,
at the bar is they are going to.
Hold on, I said you were very thoughtful in your argument, and you just insulted me.
Pugs, because they are going to sell cocaine at the bar. They're going to have a pixie stick vending machine, or have it behind the counter, or you can get 18 different flavors of it. If that's the point, if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, well, I guess you could make it smell differently if you wanted to.
I don't know. They probably flavor it. There's things we hadn't thought of because it's left of the black market.
This is dumb. This is going on. This was a good argument. It's not. I shouldn't diminish it by saying it's dumb. But I don't know where else to go with this other than to say, what are your crazy libertarian things? What?
If you wanted to be in the cocaine scene, you would go to bars that sold cocaine behind the counter. I don't think I would like to be at that bar. I would like to be at the bar where they don't sell cocaine. But I'm telling you, the
Me too, as a 54-year-old man. As a 24, I don't know, James. Yes, from where you sit now, a father and kid, yes. But throw yourself back to 2022. You weren't so selective.
I would. No, I would have. I totally would have, and I would have been better off. And I've been less likely to get a pixie stick with fentanyl in it.
All right. Well, this is a very interesting argument. I just don't think that fentanyl ought to be made more readily available.
All right. My next story here. You ready for this one?
Yes, sir.
This is a quick one. We're not going to have hot takes on this one, but it is kind of fun. Let It Go from Frozen. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go.
I sure do. Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever heard that song, but yeah. I mean, I know it's a song and I know it's a phenomenon, but I didn't have a little girl. So, my son and I never watched Frozen,
Yeah. Well, I had two girls, and we had an Anna and Elsa costume floating around at a time. So Idina Menzel sings that song, and she sings the song from Frozen 2, where she has to hit that high note at the end. And she just is getting a divorce with Taye Diggs. I didn't know her and Taye Diggs were married. Taye Diggs was married to the Let It Go chick.
Now, I thought Kristen Bell was the chick from that.
Boom. That's them right there. Well, yeah, Kristen Bell's the chick from that, like the other voice actor who's on the cartoon.
Oh, she doesn't do the singing?
Idina Menzel's Let It Go, Let It Go.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't have a daughter, man. Sorry, I wish I did.
Fine, but look, Frozen is the story of these two Nordic princesses who are from somewhere where there's basically snow year round. It's like North Norway. They run around on moose or reindeer or whatever. They have their friend is a talking snowman. Like that's how cold. So that is how, I don't know. It's just, that's the contrast, the sort of ebony and ivory contrast. I thought that was funny. I had no idea. And then they've been together for a long time. And I like seeing odd couples together.
Let me say something here. Just time out on the show. We only got 10 minutes left. James, I don't know if you've noticed, but our connection and our bars are terrible tonight.
They've been yellow the whole show.
They've been yellow. So you and I have been getting into some pretty heavy arguments, and I feel like maybe you and I have been touching nerves and getting on each other's nerves. But honestly, it's because there's a drag. There is like a delay, and it's throwing off our rhythm. You know what I mean? Like so I apologize, but I'm noticing it's starting to drive me absolutely nuts because you get real blurry and then my bars go away. So it's probably a good thing that we're almost done here tonight. So I noticed like in that story, you were on a drag, like I was hearing you, but your lips weren't matching up. You know what I mean? So I sensed that you thought that I was, throwing you shade on that story, and I wanted to address it because that's not what's going on. It's just that we're having a little bit of a timing thing that's going on between us here.
All right, well, go ahead. What do you got for the last 10 minutes?
Okay. Yeah, what was okay, so I wanted to talk about this with you. Now, I talked about this on the afternoon show a little bit, but I thought maybe I wanted to get your take on this. Flag football is now going to be an Olympic sport. Flag football is going to be a medal sport. Flag football is going to debut at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. And James, would it surprise you to learn who the #1 ranked international flag football team is?
It better be us.
The freaking United States of America, baby. We are, and the whole rest of the world is into it because the NFL has done like a very good job the past 30 years of spreading the idea of flag football around the world. And you've seen these videos on YouTube, and kids are playing flag football all over the place. So it's a legitimate thing and a moneymaker. And the NFL has really been pushing it. But here's why I'm excited about this. Okay. We're gonna see the new dream team, man. We are going to, James, you realize NFL players are gonna play. NFL players want to play. That's one of the reasons that this is a thing. Patrick Mahomes has already said, yeah, I want to win a gold medal wearing a United States of America jersey. Absolutely. We're going to have, and this is what's so funny to me about this, we're going to potentially have Patrick Mahomes out there playing flag football, running around in the backfield, chucking it 60 yards downfield to Tyreek Hill, who's being guarded by some dude from Bulgaria. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be dream team-esque. And I can't tell you how excited I am. Your thoughts on flag football in the Olympics?
Oh, man. I can't even pretend to like it because, I mean, flag football, why don't you just put them in a dress? Just get it over with and put them in a
okay, that is an extrapolated concern because this does move the ball forward to a day when we don't have contact football anymore. This is more of a normalization of the head injury kind of thing.
I don't like it.
Have you seen high-end flag football? It's incredible, James. Have you seen the NFL players when they do the flag football demonstrations? It's freaking amazing. I mean, it really is exciting. Now, I'm obviously going to miss the hitting and all of that. Hi, Ram.
Okay, but look, this is like bowling with the little bumpers and the gutters.
No, it's
and
not.
If they had a professional bowling league for that, I wouldn't pay any damn attention to it. This is embarrassing.
Oh my God. See, no, you are such a cynic. See, this is where we get into this problem, dude. This is an amazing display of athleticism. It's speed, it's elusiveness, it's cutting on a dime. These people are freaking amazing. I guess
you sound like you're talking about figure skaters. Listen to yourself.
Well, figure skating ain't my thing, but yeah, I actually know a very highly regarded former U.S. Olympic figure skater, and she's the best athlete I've ever met in my life. She can dunk a basketball, and she's only about 5'8".
Well, that's hot, but it's not football. I know she's not in the NFL.
It's also too tall for a world-class skater, which is why we don't know her name. But anyway, here, James, watch this. Come on. Here's a little bit of top-notch NFL flag football. What are we looking at here? This is this Lamar Jackson? I think this is Lamar Jackson leading a team. No, it's Michael Vick. This is flag football. Michael Vick, Ocho Cinco, and Nate Robinson, and more. All right, just check this out.
He's going to air it out and go deep. He's got a receiver, and it's caught for the touchdown. What a catch by T.J. Glover.
Just bombs.
On that drive. Pass intercepted by Miller. He stepped right in front of Kamoosh, and he gets the interception. Great awareness there by Stephen Wiggs Miller.
This is great cornerback play. He played off coverage, never backed up, and drove on that slant by Kamoosh.
Did they get the play off? Bush thinks so. Contact in the end zone. The pass is caught for the touchdown by Carmouche. What a catch by Carmouche. Charles Carmouche, the former LSU basketball player, over Stephen Miller.
Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. Carmouche left foot.
I'm sorry, my guy. You don't love football if you don't appreciate that. You're just a meatball who needs to see big old oxes slamming into each other. That's what you are.
Well, no, I like football. So
okay. No, That's fair. That's not football. That's not football as somebody with a one-track mind might see it. But it is an extrapolation of the game and an advancement of the game. So whatever it is, if you're uncomfortable calling it football, you can't objectively watch those athletes and go, wow, I could see how that could be exciting. No, you'd rather watch soccer where the ball gets kicked out of bounds every 15 seconds and it counts backwards and nobody knows when it's over. That's your idea of a competition, James?
Yes. Yes, they're not wearing flags. If you want to stop me, you're going to have to pull my flag, fellas. Oh, it's just so weak and it's so lame and it's watered down. And of course, we're going to win. And if it is going to be.
Okay, stop that. Watered down. What do you mean? What's watered down? There's no hitting.
It's not football. It's not football. That's why.
Oh, God, Jesus, man. What are you, You're like a 65-year-old in 1978 looking at a black guy and a white girl holding hands. Would you just acknowledge the athleticism? What do you mean stop? Of course it's not football. Get away from it. You know,
what people tell me about
Chicago style pizza ain't pizza. I've been making that argument for 30 years. It ain't pizza. So if it bothers you to call it pizza, stop, because it ain't. No, it ain't football. It's something different. It's flag football.
I look. The biggest sports league in America, the NFL, football. Then the second biggest one is like the NBA, and then you go to baseball, and then hockey, and NASCAR, and tennis, and then soccer's like the 18th one, and then there's like boxing and UFC, or it's UFC and then boxing actually, and you trickle down there. And where's flag football on that list? Where's flag football on the list of any country on planet Earth? And this is what's going to make it to the list. It does not make sense. It's like they invented a variation of an existing game where it's not a for real professional sport in any country on planet Earth, and it gets to be in the Olympics.
But decathlon is, we're playing these ancient sports that should be, somebody in the chat room today said there are too many sports in the Olympics, and you're damn right. We need to get rid of like 60 of these stupid sports. Long jump. Look,
discus.
I was talking about discus today. What the hell is that? Is that some ancient Spartan war technique? You can throw a disc at a dude's head? That's a dumb freaking competition. Make room for flag football. Make room for MMA. Make room for, things that people actually do in modern times.
Yeah, so I think discus was actually done at the original Olympics back in Athens in like 2000 BC or whatever.
You're making my case.
Well, I think those should be grandfathered in because,
what? Being so mean to these stupid, big, dumb athletes who are wrecking their lives trying to be the best person to throw a dinner plate the furthest. This is not a real sport. Now I'm going to take your part of the argument. This is just terrible that we do this to these people. Do you know how hard Olympic athletes train? Do you know how much of your life, your childhood has to be lost to be the best furthest throwing disc guy on planet Earth? That's ridiculous. This should not be a sport.
No,
should be an Olympic sport. Bowling, they bowl all over. Putt, golf. These are the sports that people care about, not discus or shot put. Go ahead.
No, I like the sound of putt being in there, but there is just the basic classic human compulsion
James,
to have a foot race.
That ain't golf. Why are you okay with putt? That ain't golf.
I know, right? That's like the flag football argument. I like putt better than real golf, so you're not going to win me over with that argument.
Me too.
Yeah. So there has always been the I'll race you kind of instinct. Like everyone knows that game. It's just built into the human condition. So there has to be who's the fastest guy on Earth contest, and that's exactly what okay. So the Olympics has to settle these. Who can jump the furthest? Who can jump the highest? I don't know about hurdles. That's just like, hey, who can run the fastest? Obstacles. That's stupid.
Hurdles.
I don't.
James, I don't know. Let me ask you how you feel about this, because let's get the bases covered. You're right. It should be fastest guy. Let's find out who the fastest guy is. Then let's find out who the strongest guy is. So you got to lift the weights. We got to know who's got the strongest guy and the fastest guy. Those can stay.
Yes. Strongest. Yeah. Who do we even have? Like, oh yeah, they have the weightlifting stuff. Yeah. Who can lift the most? And
those freaks are awesome.
Yeah, we'll do a squat or bench press or lean jerk, whatever you got. Let's do a variation of those. But I think they have too many weight classes and too many awards and too many, like they do the 100-meter and the 200-meter and the 400-meter, 800-meter, 1600-meter, 3200 meters, 64,000, whatever it is. They have too many of those. Let's whittle that down. I think it's ridiculous that Michael Phelps for swimming can get 8 medals in one Olympics. Let's start whittling that down. Because swimming bothers me because it should all be freestyle. Who's the fastest swimmer? I like that. I don't like, well, who's the fastest swimmer if we're doing the butterfly? We're doing this thing that's kind of awkward and it's not nearly as efficient, but it looks cute. No, they don't. In track, you don't say, well, who can run the fastest 100-meter dash? Boom. All right, well, who could run it the fastest backwards?
We do this in America. It's called 40 times at the NFL Combines. That needs to be the Olympic event. Boom, we're done. On to the next. Get rid of badminton. What are we doing? Get rid of badminton. Get rid of all the stupid shit.
Well, I think you got to leave a few in there because you're starting to take away from the Asians if you do that. There's not a whole lot athletically or Olympically that they can excel at. Badminton's been stellar for them. You know, there's a select few sports that they do very well.
Dude, they dominate gymnastics. They dominate men's and female gymnastics. They dominate figure skating. There's a lot of Olympic shit that those people are good at. Trust me.
Yes, but it's very specific, and it's not disparagingly so. I mean, the same thing. America doesn't dominate at everything, and you know, there's only a handful of sports that France has a chance of dominating.
We don't dominate at anything. That's why it's so important that we get flag football in there. James, we haven't dominated at anything in decades. The world's better than us at basketball. We don't win in basketball. It's not a no-brainer that we win at basketball. Certainly baseball. Japan just cleaned our clock in the World Baseball Classic. We don't dominate anything. So flag football needs to be in.
You really like this, don't you?
I love it. I love it because I want a dream team moment. I want to see that poster with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill and all of these just crazy athletic sprinters, runners, passers, throwers, and catchers. I want to see that poster, man. I was alive for the dream team. I want to relive that with my kid. I think that'll be awesome. And it will be, mark my words. Oh, you think that marketing and branding opportunity is going to be lost by the 2028 Olympic Committee in Los Angeles? We will be force-fed this version of flag football dream team. You watch. It's going to become huge, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, Jeff Ballard's hitting on a subject that really, I know every single person I would ask this question to would probably agree with me. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be kicked out of the Olympics. Like, who the hell watches rhythmic gymnastics? If I've never seen it with my own eyes on even YouTube, I really question, like, is it popular enough to be in the Olympics? And I don't know what the hell rhythmic gymnastics is.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is, and I don't understand. I don't understand the whole purpose of synchronized swimming. That's beautiful. That seems like a Hollywood thing. Maybe there should be an Oscar for that. I don't know if that should be an athletic sport.
Nope. It's not. It's anything that's solely judged by judges should not be a sport. I think a lot of people disagree with me on that one.
Here, James, let me pull this up. So let me just throw these at you. Okay, these are all the Olympic sports that are going to be at the 2028 Olympics. Okay, I'm going to run these down. You tell me what you think. What about artistic swimming?
Is one of them pickleball?
No, pickleball should be in there, though. That's talk about a sport that is taking old folks' homes by storm. Pickleball is dominating. Pickleball is not in there. Nope, no pickleball. Artistic swimming, James. Aquatics. Artistic swimming.
Trash.
Trash. Because it's.
Well, it breaks my rule, the Parker a-hole cynical rule, that if it's the outcome solely determined by judges, then it's not a real sport. Because sports are not subjective. Either the ball went through the hoop or it didn't.
There you
Didn't
go.
matter
Exactly.
how pretty his form was. Yeah.
How about diving?
No diving should be in there.
No, diving stays, man. That's cool. No, diving stays, man. There are plenty of places in the world where people need to jump off cliffs to survive. Diving stays.
Right. So the rule that I've thrown out is the outcome solely determined by judges and their subjective opinion on how well he
Okay,
does.
I can't get with that because then you're getting rid of figure skating and you're getting rid of
Yes.
gymnastics, and gymnastics is
Got
like 90% of the Summer Olympics. Nah, can't get with that. James, how about archery? Archery
stays.
kind of agree with you, except I'll offer this caveat. We don't do that anymore. No, bows and arrows, that's from a different era. That's a stupid sport. So maybe
We out here love it.
but they bunch of dumb hillbillies. It's not a sophisticated Olympic sport. What we need to do now is we need like maybe shooting, rifle shoot. Is that a thing? Do they do that already? I think they do that already. All right. So how about, all right. So we got to replace that with something. I don't know. Darts, bar darts. That's it. That's what we replace archery with. Bar darts.
That's not a bad idea. Look, the point of archery though is that it was a weapon of choice for 10,000 years of human civilization up until about the mid 1800s.
Yeah.
So
it's the weapon of choice of the worst. The weapon of choice of the worst Avenger too.
Yeah, Hawkeye.
All right. How about all right? So we got badminton. We've decided that's gone. How about baseball? How do you feel about baseball? Global
baseball
sport.
Can stay. Baseball can stay.
Baseball is brand new. Everybody complained when baseball was added 20 years ago. You're ruining the Olympics. And now everybody's like, nah, you know what? The baseball games are pretty much the best part of the summer games now. And they are.
The part the rule that baseball breaks for me is if you can smoke while you're doing it, it's not a sport.
Okay, understood.
So
I think you can smoke while doing any of these sports. It may affect how well you do the sports, but you could smoke while playing basketball.
But yeah, no, Jesus Christ.
I've seen it. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I've seen dudes with a nice menthol hanging out of their lips.
Okay. But the point is baseball does pass the rule. It's not solely determined by judges. There are definite runs and outs and things like that. So it's not subjective, it's objective. So it only breaks one of my two rules. So
all right, what about canoeing? Well, what do you think of these sports? All the sports that have to do with a dude in a boat rowing, all the Ivy League sports, where dudes from Harvard, Princeton dominate.
Well, it has the same appeal as let's find out who the fastest man on earth is, or who the highest jumper is, or who's the farthest jumper is, or who can throw a spear the furthest. So I'm down with javelin because the Olympics was just this is a test of.
You don't throw spears anymore is my point. Stop throwing spears. Stop throwing discs. We don't do it. No bat. No archery. We don't do these things anymore. I'm trying to update it. You're fighting me on this.
Well, we don't throw footballs either.
As a part of the game of football, we do. What game do we throw javelins in? What are you talking about?
I think that gets grandfathered in because if I remember correctly, there was a javelin in the original Olympics back in Athens in 800 BC or whenever that crap was.
And again, that proves my argument why it needs to go. You want to tether yourself to the past in these stupid sports they did when nobody wore pants. And I'm trying to make the Olympics something we can all enjoy in the summer. And you want to...
The Olympics is supposed to be every 4 years, all humanity gets together and they see who is the biggest, fastest, strongest, whatever.
In ways that we do in the modern times, not in ways that we did. Okay.
Rowing counts. We don't run anywhere either.
What country has the strongest slaves? Maybe that should be a category for going back to like the ancient days of. All right, we're gonna run through some more because these are gonna piss you off, man. I got some that are gonna really make James mad. How about BMX freestyle? BMX freestyle is a metal sport.
That's one of those sports that white people invented because we have ceased to dominate other sports. They
sure is.
It's embarrassing. It is a stain on my culture and my people, of which I'm 75% white. So just don't do that. Look how good I am on my bike.
It's like golf. It's like golf. It's not a sport. It's an activity. It's an activity. It's what you do for fun. No.
Well, okay. Golf isn't solely determined by judges. Golf actually has a score. Either a ball went in the hole or didn't matter how good your pants looked or how good you could flippy flip.
Okay. That I will accept that argument. Fencing, sword fighting. Like we're in pirate days. I'm getting this out of there. No, not for me. What about you? Fencing.
I think fencing needs to stay, but they need to make the swords bigger. They got to give them Braveheart swords, and we would all love to watch that. We'd watch the hell out of that because the fencing that I see when I go to like Renaissance Festival or my little dorky conventions or whatever, that's fantastic. This crap that they do in the Olympics where it's these little and that's it, just lasts like 4 seconds tops.
I don't want fencing because it seems really effete. Seems like very yeah. It's okay. You stupid with your little stupid. It's a little pointy thing with a little ball on the end. You see, it's so dumb. Here's what I
no
say.
one's going to go to war with that little quiver or whatever you got there.
No, nobody's gonna. No, first of all, that entire weapon is like a car antenna. What are you gonna do with that thing? You're gonna give me a. You're gonna slap me on my thigh? That is so.
Point at the chalkboard.
So dumb. That's not a real weapon. That's a stupid fancy people fencing way. That can't be a real weapon. Anyway, okay, so we got fencing. How about what else do we get? There was one I wanted to mention here. Fencing. Oh no. And you know what you do with fencing? You know what would be cool? Let's do this. We can't do this, but maybe in 50 years when society is completely fallen apart, let's get rid of the fencing things. What are they called? Are those swords? What are they called?
Foils.
Is that what they're called? Really? Look at you. All right, so you get rid of the fencing foils. Negan bats. Negan bats from Walking Dead.
If touch football is too violent, then Negan bats are going to be out. Not that I'm against it.
Well, I know, but I went the other way because I said 50 years when society completely deteriorates. The only way flag football is going to catch on is if society survives. That's the only way. Society, if we degenerate any further where we're just total idiocracy, yeah, we're going to have Negan bat fights in the Olympics, and that'll be awesome. Okay, how about gymnastics? You're not good with gymnastics. Gymnastics is
some of it is all of it determined solely by the judge's opinion of how well you flip it around and land it. Okay,
yes,
then they're
100%. Who did it better? Who flippied around and landed better?
Okay, I'm out.
Okay, no gymnastics.
Well, if they have a contest to see who could do like the most flips the fastest, and it was determined by a clock, or like this guy can do 3 flips, but this guy can do 4 flips, and the 4 flip guy. If there's some sort of objective standard that can be applied to it, it's allowed to be called a sport. If not, it's just some artistic judgment.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense. Sailing. How about sailing? Just a bunch of rich guys on their yacht letting the wind do the work.
I like that because that's a classic human skill that is persisted throughout civilization and time immemorial. Although it's not widely used now, it kind of falls under the same vein as archery.
This is why more people watch the X Games, because people like you want to shove sailing down our throats. All right, how about?
Oh, I'm watching it. It sounds boring as hell, but the Olympics doesn't exist to entertain us with rhythmic dancing. It is to establish who is the fastest runner, who's the fastest sailor, who's the fastest on a horse. I'd be good with too.
How you feel about tennis?
Love it.
I think tennis can stay. Yeah, those people are crazy athletes. Good tennis players are crazy good athletes. Table tennis. You've already weighed in. You want to say again? Table tennis.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're afraid of hurting the Chinese's feelings. I think you need to get rid of table tennis. That's a stupid thing to have in the Olympics. I jokingly said bar darts, but it's the same damn sport, basically. They're just two dumb sports. How about pool? Why don't we add pool if we're going to have table tennis? How about air hockey? Can we have an air hockey gold medal? That would be cool. These are bar games.
Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah. Well, it really does feel like a watered down flag football version of tennis.
It is.
Right?
Thank you. And on that note, we're good. All right.
Take it out. Take it out. You've convinced me. Take it out.
Here
Take
goes.
it out. Bye, ping pong. Or table tennis. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. He's already going. All right. Well, that was fun tonight. We had a terrible connection all day. It was garbage. People were saying I looked all fuzzy. James looks all fuzzy to me. I don't know what this is about. All right, James, anything in closing?
Yeah, I encourage you to look into the history of Basil Porphyrogenitus.
And I encourage you to look into the history of Ivar the Boneless.
It's a fantastic story as well.
Yeah.
Or you could
Found
watch
out-
season 4 of Vikings.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah. So Ivar the Boneless is a character from the A&E. Was it A&E? The A&E series Vikings. But that depiction of Ivar the Boneless. That depiction of Ivar the Boneless is complete nonsense. They just took a real person who existed, someone's real name, and made him the son of. He wasn't the son of Ragnar. None of that stuff was real. It was all, they were myth. We don't even know that Ragnar was real, but we do know that Ivar the Boneless was real. He was a real dude, and he left his imprint on the Irish Sea and on Dublin and on Ireland. He's basically the guy who created Dublin. That's who Ivar the Bone. And he had no like bones or anything in his legs from the waist down. Like, like he was like paralyzed, but he wasn't just paralyzed. He was like jelly, they say. At least that's how the Wikipedia description is.
Well, the Wikipedia description also says he is the son of Ragnar Lothbrok and Aslog.
Yeah. But we don't know that Ragnar existed. He's from the fables. I mean, it's like, anyway, this could be another conversation. I love the story. So we could go deep on this. So, all right.
Later, guys.
There goes James. I've had a bonus. Join me tomorrow at high noon for all the day's headlines, current events, hot topics, all of that stuff. I do it every day, Monday through Friday at noon. None of that political fucking bullshit. I don't care about your right-wing nonsense or your left-wing idiocy. This is about the rest of us. People don't give a shit. People are in the middle. We don't do divisive politics on that show, but we do cover the world. We find other things to be divisive about. I'm a divisive son of a bitch, and so are some of you. And I love having you. Come join the chat room. It'll be fun. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. No Radio Misfits show tomorrow evening. I got, it's Thursday night. High school football night. Gotta go do the high school football thing. Rangers lost 8-5. That's all right. The magic is still there, y'all. Don't sweat it. Magic. You want to know how I know the Magic is still alive? Because, look, we all knew that they were going to lose at least one game. No one in the history of Major League Baseball has run undefeated through the postseason. We knew they were going to lose at least once. My God, they've just run through 2 entire series without a loss. Give them a break. But you know how I knew the Magic was still alive during today's game? I was sitting there watching this game, and I thought to myself, I said, holy shit. The Rangers are going to get no hit tonight. And the very next batter got a base hit. Magic. You know why? Because teams that are fueled by magic, like this year's Texas Rangers, teams that are fueled by magic don't get no hit. So good for the Houston Astros. Good for them. We'll see you tomorrow. Got another one tomorrow at 6:30. We'll get it back. And then we'll close this thing up down there in Houston. That's how we'll do it. Stop with the pessimism. I'm already seeing a couple, the typical Ranger guy. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, now, granted, that's not everybody. Rangers pretty much, we've all bought in. And that's good. Because as I said today, that's what sports is all about. Buying in, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and getting your heart stomped on. The red badge of courage of heartbreak. That's what it means to be a sports fan in America. Love you guys. See you tomorrow at high noon. Bye-bye, y'all.